Not all creatures at Disney World are animatronics. Before I tell you my story, I have to tell you that I haven't worked at Disney for 6 months. I got the gig through their college program, getting paid to work at the happiest place on earth. Great, right? Nope. I could write stories just about my day-to-day work there, but it wasn't all bad. The novelty of working there surprisingly never wore off. In mid-August, I was starting to legitimately enjoy it. That was until I got the complaint. What is up with the additions? It scared the shit out of my kids. I sort of looked at this woman with a "what the hell are you talking about" face. We haven't done any additions to the Pirates of the Caribbean in a while. When was the last time you came here? We were just here in December. I'm just saying that the fish robot got way too close to the boat. Holy shit. For anybody who has been to Disney World should know that there is no fish animatronic on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I cashed the woman out. I was working at the shop outside the ride, called my supervisor over the walkie-talkie, and told her what she told me. Wait, what? Fuck. I'll be right over. Go to the nearest break room. I did just that. I sat in the cool room for a few minutes until my manager finally came in. She actually locked the door to make sure that we were the only two in there. So she said that there was something in the water? My manager asked. I told her yes, and then she asked me, did she say anything about hair? I sat there really confused. I said no and asked what she meant. Well, I got approached by a few guys, early 20s, and they told me they saw what looked like a mermaid near Barbossa's boat. I just assumed they were high and forgot, but if someone else saw it, we need to tell the ride runners. My manager and I headed towards the inner tunnels that led to the mechanical room for the ride when a woman sprinted out of the exit sobbing her eyes out. We quickly brought her to the break room and asked what was wrong. Through her son, she tried to explain that while she was on the ride, near the plundering scene, she saw something pass the boat. Now, the water in the ride is not very deep, so what she described next sounded absurd. It looked like a mix between a fish and a person. Its arms were only a few inches long and I saw the fucking gills. It had huge eyes, no nose, and a gaping mouth. We calmly asked her what color the scales were. No, it didn't have scales. It was flesh. Within 5 minutes, the ride was shut down. I didn't have high enough clearance to know what they were doing to find the thing in the ride, but my manager was cool enough to tell me what they found. Near the jail scene, a disgusting mound of flesh was left on top of the dog, but nothing else was seen. Now, like I said before, I was just a normal worker, so I don't know about any investigations they did about the Pirates incident. But I do know when the next fucked up thing happened. A few days later, I was working in Hollywood studios, doing janitorial work when I heard a family talking as they left the great movie ride. Did you hear Kevin scream at the alien scene? A tween boy pushed the girl, who I assumed was his sister. Shut up. The robot came so close to us. Did you see its eyes? I assumed they were talking about the xenomorph scene, and what they were saying didn't add up. So yet again, I called up my supervisor. My supervisor, there was a pretty young guy, I'd say about 25, so he thought I was fucking with him when I told him. But he had heard what happened at the Pirates ride, so he quickly took me seriously. What did it look like? He asked me. I had to practically chase this family down to stop them. They acted like I was accusing them of doing something wrong when I asked them what happened. We didn't touch any of the props, sir, the father said. No, I don't think you did. I just really would like to know what was wrong with the animatronic. I was trying to pretend that what they saw belonged. Well, first, the slobber was a gross touch. It got on my nice sunglasses. A warning would have been nice. I'm very sorry. Could you describe the prop so we could take a look at it? You don't even know your own ride? The ostrich human thingy. I was so confused, so I asked her to explain more. She reluctantly went on. The thing covered in flesh, the bent legs, the arms in the shape of wings, and the really long neck. That one. I'm very sorry. We'll take a look. I felt very uneasy, so I got away from them as quickly as I could and told my supervisor what they said. He told me that he would handle it and to get back to work. I stalled a bit doing my work so I could stay pretty close to the ride. It was shut down within minutes, and the plainclothed Disney workers went inside the ride. But then, 5 carts drove up to the ride. 8 men holding medical masks and black briefcases ran inside. This was one thing that I hadn't ever seen before. These Disney workers were breaking the magic, so it had to be serious. Luckily, this supervisor was pretty cool too and explained what they found in there. Little pieces of flesh were scattered around the Wizard of Oz scene, but something else was left there. A sticky note attached to the witch's broom. 2 words were written on it. "We're here." The next week felt really weird among the cast members. A lot of them explained that they felt like they were always being observed, and not in the normal way. I could notice that the secret security had been beefed up in every park. I even got to talking with one that was down in the tunnels under the Magic Kingdom. I don't know much. They just told me that if I saw something suspicious, call the suits. People that have worked at Disney know what the suits are. They are pretty much Disney's CIA. No, not in some freaky conspiracy kind of way, but whenever there is a serious threat to patrons' safety in the parks, the suits are there to respond. They don't actually wear suits. We just call them that because of the CIA parallel. They usually are behind the scenes ready to go at any given moment. They do all wear black polos though. So if you're at Disney and you see an unusually high amount of black polos in one area, you are probably in danger and you don't even know it. But back to the story, the last time I was involved in one of these incidents was 2 days before I quit. I was on the nightly cleanup shift. When all the patrons left the park, I was out there cleaning their shit up. This particular night I was working alone in the line for Splash Mountain. The engineers had just passed me, so I assumed they were done with their nightly inspections, but in passing, they told me that a garbage bag had been ripped open and I had a lot of work to do. Yup, right near the sign that says "Last Chance to Exit," a fully filled garbage bag had been ripped open and garbage was everywhere. After 10 minutes I was nearly done cleaning it up until I heard a quiet voice. Hop, hop, hop. I looked up and saw that right at the entrance of the ride a log was in the water, and someone was in the front seat. The lights were all off and I had left my flashlight on the ground, so I could barely see the person besides the outline of their body. Hop, hop, hop. Hey, the ride is closed. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, please. I could see the figure shift. Whoever it was getting out of the log, so I picked up my flashlight and shined it on them. To this day I wish I hadn't. On the platform was this monstrosity, on all fours, in a crab walking formation, but its head was straight up. Jesus Christ, its head. It had the eyes of a human, but the nose of a rabbit, and I shit you not, tall fucking ears. Oh, and it wasn't covered in fur, or any type of clothing. It was covered in bare flesh. Even the ears were covered with flesh. The creature started advancing towards me in awkward, jerking motions. But it was moving pretty slow, so I sprinted back towards the exit. As I was racing towards the exit, I pulled out my walkie-talkie and screamed into it that I needed a suit right away. I stood outside the entrance for about a minute, making sure that the thing wasn't behind me anymore, before a suit finally came. This time, it was something I had never seen before. He had a pistol with him. The suit checked all over the ride and only found a few things. Little piles of flesh, and another sticky note taped to one of the vultures before the big drop. We won't leave. For the next day they let me stay in a nice room in one of the pop hotels. People came to the room a few times asking what I had seen, but when I started to ask them questions, they all seemed to clam up. This pissed me off to no end, so I decided to quit. I'm sorry to finish this rather anticlimactically, but since I quit, the company has cut literally all ties with me. Back around December, for some reason I really wanted to go back there. They said yes, but only if they could do a screening. They gave no context for that, so I declined. I don't know what happened with those weird occurrences. The cast members that I still talk to have said no weird shit has gone on since that night. I have my theories on what those things were. But here is all I can say. Disney is a much more powerful corporation than many people think. I personally believe that those things were a product of someone that Disney had pissed off, or something that they had created themselves. All I know is what I saw last summer will never leave my mind.